President Cost, why don't you tell us about this? So something new, but how would you describe this? Because I know that the phrase is future focused. What does that mean?
Sure. I mean, if you're following the higher education landscape in this country right now, there are a lot of challenges, whether you're public or private, large or small. And it gave us the reason about 6 months ago to do a very deep dive in a strategic plan where we were going to tighten the focus around what we were giving to our students. We don't think we should be offering 70 or 80 different fields of study. We think it more comes down to 30 to 40. So we went through, we worked with, got great input from the faculty, and we focused on the future. What's the next 20 years going to hold for what this university can provide into the community? And that's what we announced today.
How do you bring those down? And maybe it comes from an analysis of, hey, why did we have so many offerings to begin with?
Sure. I mean, in the history of a university like this one, and it's true of there's 30 private universities in Florida. There's obviously many hundreds across the country. You try to be responsive to individual needs of maybe as few, in our case, as 5 students. We had fields of study where you could get what the world calls a major field of study that had somewhere between 2 and 10 students in that. Those things aren't for the long of that's not students voting to choose your university for those things. On the other hand, we're very good at something like nursing. We have more than 1,000 nursing majors, 1,000 students majoring in nursing at our university. So we looked at the sort of intersection between student interest and demand and what market expectations were. And that's what we went through.
Tell me a little bit more about the changes that will happen here, and how does it affect, or how many students, I guess, does it affect? Does it affect faculty as well?
Sure. So we've got 4,200 students right now. Almost 3,000 of those are undergrads, what people would call freshmen to seniors. Another 12 to 1,300 are graduate school, so master's and doctorate. We have narrowed down our aperture now to the 37 undergraduate programs that are most in demand, most interesting to our students, highest subscribed, and we think do the most for Northeast Florida. And we've narrowed it down to the 15 graduate programs that look like public policy and the healthcare sciences, law, medicine, et cetera. So of all that work, we're going to impact a little less than 100 students out of the 4,200 that we have. That means 100 students that we're going to be sitting with that I meet with today on the day we announce this, personally, face to face, and talk to them about, you will graduate from here. We have a whole team. The power of small numbers when it comes to a student situation like this is you really can customize. I mean, if we were 50,000 students, it's hard to do this. But with 4,200 students and 100 of them impacted, we're sitting with every single one of them and putting a care team around them, a team that has everything from financial people to people who look at the careers ahead of them, to people who look at student affairs, to people who look at everything that a student would need. They now don't need to run around the whole university to get their questions answered. So our goal is that every one of those students not be disrupted, but that those programs won't be offered to new incoming students.
President Costa, does this have a financial implication, whether it's for students and what they're going to pay, or for the university and how it has to pay its bills? What's the dollars and cents of making a choice like this?
Sure. And so, like all universities in this era where there's tremendous pressure coming at the federal level with the 100+ executive orders, elected officials calling into question everything from Pell Grants to everything that has to do with DEI, everything that has to do with ease, which is at the state level. We are also looking for a way to create long-term financial sustainability. This program that we're putting in place now is going to reduce on an ongoing basis, not one time, about 10% of what we call controllable or operating expenses from the university. That needs to be done. It needs to be looked at by every university. It's time to make these hard decisions, and we're watching some of the truly great universities in this country, from Cornell to Johns Hopkins to Harvard, make somewhat similar decisions.
Does it give you hope for the future? Yeah, I know you're future focused, and that's what we've seen in your time that you've been at JU, but is this something that as it rolls out, you're going to be able to say, wow, we made a good decision because it set up the university and its graduates, its students for success?
Yeah, exactly. I'm very optimistic about it. I'll tell you why. I mean, there's an energy that comes from focus and prioritization and then execution. And I didn't want to drain the considerable strength of our excellent faculty by having them go across 80 plus undergraduate majors and 30 to 40 graduate programs, where many times the number of students in each was small. So focus and prioritization. The excitement is now you're going to double down and triple down on things that we think this community wants us to do well to help out the economy, everything to do with healthcare, business, and technology. And on the other hand, we're taking a long, hard look at things that people look to us much less for, which might have to do with the fine arts and the humanities. It's a natural evolution of looking at what you did in the 1960s and 70s versus what you think can help the economy and these students in the 2030s and 2040s.
When will you think that you'll really see the impact of it? Hey, is it in 2025? Not probably. Hey, we start here. Then when do we see it really catch up to the vision?
Sure. I mean, we're going to be making these changes effective throughout this summer. So when students come back here, many of them returning back, our persistence rate, which we're very excited about, which is coming back from semester to semester, is 94%. That's a good sign. Mm-hmm. So when we come back in the fall, we're going to have this new catalog essentially in place, and then we're going to continue to work with the faculty. The faculty put together at our request a terrific task force that did outstanding work, put a great report together, and we accepted the vast majority of their recommendations. So you should begin to see the benefits of this starting in the fall.
Will faculty members end up losing their jobs if they were teaching in a specific area that we don't offer that major anymore?
Yeah, and that's a tough part. I mean, I recognize that some of these decisions we're making are going to affect the lives. They certainly have of many of our staff members. We have far fewer people working at this university today than we did when I took this job. Certainly far fewer. We came down in numbers during COVID and for the most part stayed down. Technology helps. But in this case, of the 625 people who work here, we expect 40 to be separated through this program. We're putting separation benefits together with them, wraparound services, severance payments, et cetera.
What did I miss that's important to talk about with this?
I think it's important to know that what we're doing by making these changes, these adjustments, these refinements, is to still support 96% of the students who currently go here. So the concept that you can reposition yourself strategically for what you see coming. Technology's coming, certainly federal government intervention may be coming, students' interests and demands are coming. There's a change in the economy of Northeast Florida that we want to answer to. And so we felt we should take into account and support what people love to take here, which is most of the things I think most people know us for now, and to see if we could go ahead now and strategically, in a kind of respectful, thoughtful, pragmatic, strategic way, address what we shouldn't be doing here. Hard decisions, Kent, but I think now is the time to do it.